Romania is a country steeped in legend, but not everything about it that you have heard is true, and many things people just don't know about at all. To bring light to the darkness of this land, we present you with the 10 things you didn't know about Romania. There are many legends about the so-called gypsies, who are more properly known as Romani, and many people falsely believe they are European people by origin, but they would be wrong. Gypsies, or Romani, actually originate from northern India, and their language, although Indo-European in origin, and thus part of the greater family of languages that belongs to this group, is more closely related to the languages of the Indian subcontinent such as Hindi than modern European languages. The Romani wandered out of India over a millennium ago, making their way to Europe, and subsequently have had many difficulties integrating into the local populations. Nowhere is this truer than in Romania, where they live in segregated communities, isolated from mainstream Romanian society. Because of this isolation and self-imposed ethnic segregation, Romani are often targeted as objects of persecution, yet at the same time, there's substantial evidence that Romani do commit crimes at a higher rate than the local Romanian population, ranging from theft to robbery and more. But what is perhaps most interesting is their own infighting, as Romani do not necessarily regard others outside of their direct tribe as friends, and people to be trusted. Either way, the Romani have shown themselves to be persistent in maintaining their ethnic separatism while ignoring the host Romanian culture, which does not bode well for them in the future, as it has not done so in the past. No list of Romania would be complete without mention of the legendary and perhaps more appropriately infamous warrior Vlad Tepes, more commonly known as Vlad the Impaler, whose historicity cannot be doubted, but whose legend extends far beyond his historical actions and record, as he was immortalized as the preeminent vampire of legend in Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, the fame of which continues to the present day. However, the question remains, who was the real Vlad Tepes? Born the second son of Vlad Dracul, or Vlad the Dragon, Tepes was born in the 15th century to an environment surrounded by hostiles, the greatest of which was the Ottoman Empire, which had been expanding at an alarming rate, and he was Prince of Wallachia 3 times during his lifetime. Vlad was not the most successful political ruler, having suffered exile and imprisonment with periodic breaks in his rule, but what he was most famous for was his unparalleled cruelty in how he meted out punishment and justice. He was known for his enjoyment at the suffering of others. A late 15th century account describes the following, quote, Vlad had a big copper cauldron built and put a lid made of wood with holes in it on top. He put the people in the cauldron and put their heads in the holes and fastened them there. Then he filled it with water and set a fire under it and let the people cry their eyes out until they were boiled to death. And then he invented frightening, terrible, unheard of tortures. He ordered that women be impaled together with their suckling babies on the same stake. The babies fought for their lives at their mother's breasts until they died. Then he had the women's breasts cut off and put the babies inside head first. Thus, he had them impaled together. Of course, to many Romanians, these tales are regarded as specious at best, and Vlad is sometimes seen as a national hero who resisted the expansionist power of the Ottomans. However, few people seem to realize that it is entirely possible to be both a hero and a villain, and this is likely the most accurate picture of Vlad Tepes, son of the dragon. As one of the most recent major events to take place in Romania, thousands of Romanian citizens have stood up to their government's attempts to limit penalties to politicians who engage in corrupt behavior such as bribery. The legislation, it has been claimed by those presenting it, is meant to curtail the amount of people who wind up in prison for so-called minor offenses. But the courageous Romanian people, who've had to deal with much corruption in the past, vis-a-vis communism, smell a foul wind on the horizon, and have been standing up for their right to live in a just and lawful society. The Romanian language is truly unique among Romance languages, or so-called daughter languages of Latin, which include Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese, because of the unique historical circumstances that surround it and led to specific developments found in Romanian, but not in other Romance languages. For one thing, it is a wonder that Romanian as a Romance language even survived the centuries, as it was born in far-flung, a remote Roman province that the Romans had far less influence over compared to places such as Gaul and Italy. After the Roman Empire had fallen, the region of Dacia was beset by numerous invasions of Slavic people, as well as others, and this isolation, along with frequent contact with Slavic languages, created the unique linguistic state of affairs we find in the Romanian language today. Romania is more archaic than other Romance languages, and has preserved, at least partially, the Latin case system, whereas this has entirely disappeared from other Romance languages. Romanian retains 3 of the 6 original cases, where the nominative and accusative are morphologically identical, as is the dative and genitive, and the vocative being used infrequently. Romanian, unlike other Romance languages, also retains the gender category of neuter, in addition to masculine and feminine. Romanian also shares grammatical features of languages that share the same geography, such as Bulgarian, in that the definite article is put at the end of a word rather than in front of it. For example, Codrul literally means forest the, but more idiomatically means the forest. Finally, having been surrounded by Slavic languages for centuries, much of the vocabulary in Romanian has been borrowed from Slavic, such as Razboi, which means war in Romanian, and combat in Serbo-Croatian and robbery in Russian. The more Western Romance languages do not share this word or many others that have been borrowed, and this is a testament to Romanian's unique linguistic history. Nicolae Ceausescu was the last major Soviet puppet and communist leader in Romania, who interestingly enough was overthrown on live television while in the middle of giving a traditional communist speech in late 1989. He would later be executed by order of a kangaroo court several days after. Born into a peasant family of 10 and in office for over 20 years, it is hard to tell if he actually believed the communist propaganda he would frequently spout, but most people who lived through his regime saw him as nothing more than a Soviet puppet and tyrant who got his just desserts when the Iron Curtain finally came crashing down. Romanian food is a unique blend of different dishes from many countries it has come into contact with. It at the same time maintains its own character. It has been heavily influenced by Ottoman cuisine, while it also includes influences from the cuisines of other neighboring countries, such as Bulgaria and Hungary. There are many different types of dishes, which are sometimes included under a generic term. For example, the category of ciorba includes a wide range of soups with a characteristic sour taste. These may be meat and vegetable soups, tripe, and calf soups or fish soups, all of which are soured by lemon juice, sauerkraut juice, and vinegar, and the category tusia or plum brandy is a generic name for a strong alcoholic beverage in Romania. Exotic and almost mystical, the Carpathians are a mountain range that run through eastern Romania and include a huge amount of biodiversity and remain an incredibly popular tourist destination for both the beautiful landscape as well as a popular spot for skiing. Large predators such as wolves, bears, lynxes, as well as all manner of smaller mammals such as weasels and shrews and others populate this mountain range and are a popular reason for visiting for many wildlife aficionados. The relative isolation of the Carpathians has ensured the existence of these animals that have been wiped out in other places in Europe. Speaking of bears, the love for this majestic animal manifests itself in Romania in many ways, including a unique but familiar holiday enjoyed nowhere else but in Romania. Unlike most other European countries, Romania has many bears, and the celebration of the Day of the Bear is thought to be related to the bear's hibernation cycles and the changing of the seasons. Regardless, few people have the same degree of reverence for the bear as do Romanians. You might have never guessed it, but cigarette smuggling is an incredibly lucrative business in Romania, as a single hand-rolled cigarette coming in from neighboring Ukraine could retail for up to €0.50 in Romania. Officials have consistently cracked down on over 30 smuggling operations and had confiscated almost 10 million packs in 2012 alone. But where there is profit to be made, such businesses continue to flourish, as no government can keep people away from a good deal, even if that deal comes in the form of smuggling cigarettes. Hungarians make up the largest ethnic minority in Romania, numbering well over 1 million, and their presence in Romania is largely a consequence of territory that had formerly been Hungarian but was ceded to Romania after World War I. Tensions since then have been high, as most Romanian Hungarians do not consider themselves Romanian and view the lands they live in as fundamentally Hungarian. However, as modernity has pressed on, fewer and fewer ethnic tensions have arisen in recent years, and most people, whether officially Romanian or Hungarian Romanian, are content to let sleeping dogs lie. For more top lists just like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to check out our other lists. And thanks for watching, and thanks for learning.